Today's guided scripture is Matthew 6:33, which says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." First question, what are all these things? Well, if we look 2 verses before this one, in Matthew 6:31, we find that Jesus is explicitly referring to food, drink, and clothing. For many people, these sorts of basic provisions would be the ultimate answer to prayer. For others, access to these things might be easy to take for granted. They might feel like, I've pretty much got these things locked down. What else can I get out of this verse? When we look at the context within the sermon, Jesus is actually doing something huge in this passage. Starting in Matthew 6:19 and going up through today's verse, Jesus is giving his listeners a warning about money, about how the desire for money can become the controlling force in our lives. Jesus encourages his listeners, instead of hoarding treasure, to be generous with others, and to do so without fear that we won't have enough for ourselves afterward. He isn't just promising we'll have our needs taken care of. He's establishing a new way of being that involves looking after each other's needs instead of only looking after our own. To seek first his kingdom and his righteousness means to prioritize the way of being in the world that Jesus modeled. And in this particular instance, that looks like trusting the Father and trusting that he would generously care for us as we generously care for him. For joining us for Guided Scripture today. Today's verse comes from one of the most powerful and challenging passages in the entire Bible, the Sermon on the Mount. In our newest Bible plan on our Access Connect page, we're using theology, culture, philosophy, and biblical scholarship to unpack the meaning of Jesus' words in the sermon, complete with conversation starters and action challenges to help readers put Jesus' teachings into practice. Check out our new Sermon on the Mount reading plan right here in the Bible app.